Hello everyone and welcome! Today I want to talk about the build that I've been having the most fun with in Elden Ring, a build that I call my Master Caster. Taking a look at the incantation and sorcery scaling on this character, we have 329 on the Golden Order seal and 320 on the Azura's Glintstone Staff, both of which are perfectly serviceable and do some good damage in casting. And of course, just in case, we have our backup shield and sword, just in case we run out of mana. Now, while this build can function pretty well in PvP, it definitely shines most in PvE. And the main reason for this we can see when we look at the damage negation. Marika's Sword Seal is absolutely required to make this build work, and it cuts pretty heavily into our physical and elemental damage negations. Having low damage negation doesn't make the build unusable, however, it does put you at a bit of a disadvantage in a PvP situation. In addition, the poise for this build is pretty low, which also doesn't help it in PvP. What makes this build so fun for me though, is that I can use every sorcery in the game, and almost every incantation. And in fact, by just taking 5 points away from intelligence and 5 points away from vigor, I could use every incantation in the game. This because my Flask of Wondrous Physic uses both the Intelligence and Faith Knot Crystal Tears, which boost each stat by 10. This build is absolutely usable without the Flask, but with the Flask it becomes an absolute powerhouse. As previously mentioned, the scaling for the seal and the staff come out to around 320. After drinking the Flask, they're at 357 and 362 respectively. Now this is some really good damage. Another reason this is so cool is because it lets you use some of the sorceries that are pretty hard to fit into builds normally. Things like Ancient Death Rancor Call require a lot of faith and intelligence to function. Briars of Sin or Briars of Punishment are both sorceries that require 20 plus faith. That makes it pretty hard to fit them in most builds, but not for this one. And honestly, it's been a lot of fun beating bosses with different spells and different incantations. It feels really good to have what feels like a tool for every single situation. A few things to note are that my armor is absolutely not optimal at all. I like having a unique look to every single one of my builds, and it just so happened that I feel like this look not only matches the theme of the build, but looks pretty good. As far as melee weapons go, there are only really 3 that I would consider, those being the Noble Slender Sword, the Magic Misericord, and the Glintstone Kriss. I recommend these 3 in particular because they don't require any investment in strength and dexterity to wield. That makes them good options for a backup weapon in case you run out of mana. As far as talismans go, there are a couple options. The only one that's strictly required for this build is the Marika's Sword Seal, but I ended up liking the Stargazer Heirloom to cap out on 80 intelligence, the Radagon icon, which in combination with the Azura's Glintstone Staff gives me max casting speed, and the Cerulean Amber Medallion plus 2, which gives me a lot more FP, especially when in combination with the Preceptor's Big Hat. There are other options of course though, like the Erdtree's Favor plus 2, either the sorcery or incantation boosting talismans, or even the Ritual Sword Talisman, because the boost at full health also applies to sorceries and incantations. Overall, while it might not be the best build in Elden Ring, it's one that I enjoy quite a lot, and also one I don't see many people experimenting with. But now I'd like to know what you think. Please leave a comment down below. Reading and replying to comments are some of my favorite things when it comes to making these videos. And as always, a like or a subscription would be greatly appreciated. It helps tells me that you like my content, and it helps tell YouTube that they should show my content to more people. But regardless, as always, I hope all of you have a wonderful day.